1, 2. So Johnny is nonverbal. He has always liked apples. And one morning I didn't have any apples. And Abby comes to me, she's like, apple. I'm like, oh no, we're out, honey. But you know what, it's Thursday. We're gonna go to the good food bag today. She got all excited. Hey Jonathan, can we put your jacket on, please? And so we got there and we pulled up and they happened to have apples. So I grabbed 2 apples and went running back out to the car. And Abby's like, apples, and reached out. And all of a sudden, Johnny reached out his arms and said, apple. And my mouth dropped and I'm freaking out because he's never said anything before. And so I go running back into the hall and I'm like, Johnny just said apple. And everyone just starts cheering and jumping up and down and, hey, we're gonna walk today. It touched my heart so much and it made things come full circle for me that, you know, I struggled so hard to just make that first step and go outside of my house. And here I am with these same people who were so welcoming, cheering on the fact that Johnny just said a word. Like, and not only a word, but like a fruit word, a food word from their bags. It was really incredible, so.
You want to give me a hand with this? Just don't want them all to fall off sideways here. Thursday is game day here and we have 550 boxes we're putting together today. And we have anywhere between 25 and 40 volunteers showing up today. So right now we're just setting up tables and just getting all the produce on the tables for a big production line. I think everybody can grab a station if they don't already have one, and if anyone is looking for something to do, come find me and we'll find you something to do. The Good Food Box is a program where we've got a bag of food that goes out once a week. It's got about 7 to 9 different fruits and vegetables in it. It's a group buying power, community buying power that makes fruit and vegetables accessible for everyone in the community. We've got 3 different options. We've got a $10 option, a $15 option, and we provide bags for free in many situations. What goes in the bag costs about $10, but would cost about $20 to $30 in a grocery store. The Nanaimo community definitely benefits from the program. There's a lot of poverty in Nanaimo, and especially with the cost of housing, the increasing cost of food, we need to come together as a community to work together to access food affordably. So this program is definitely a community program that helps with that access.
Hey guys, are you gonna come out? 2020 honestly was the worst year of a lot of people's lives. It was really hard for everyone. Well, I wanted an Emily hug, I know, right? And for me, it was definitely the worst year. It was the best year of my life and the worst year of my life. Our twins were born prematurely at the beginning of February in 2020. It was scary and stressful. Our 2 babies were in incubators. And my husband was struggling. He was struggling to make it into the hospital. He was having a really hard time going to work and just, I wasn't sure what was going on. And so we got them home and we got out of the hospital about the week before the pandemic shut down the whole world. And so he slowly but surely started to get sick and we weren't really sure what was happening or what to do. And it just got worse and worse and worse. And so we finally took him to the hospital in May, and that's the first time that we heard the word cancer. They'd found some masses, 5 of them, some baseball sized, some 12 inches wide, and he was just riddled with it. We got the biopsy results and they said the words, it's important that you go home and spend time with your family. And I mean, we all know what that means. The hospital was kind enough to let us get married in the hospital, and we got married on December 7th. And then 2 days later, we moved him to hospice, and on the 15th, he took his final breath, and that was that. And so it's been 2 years now. We're doing a lot better than we were. Some days it's really tough, but we're nowhere near what we were at when we first started. When he first passed away, I was lying on the floor for weeks because my whole life had shattered. I was watching the world pass me by, right? And because I was scared to move forward, because for me, the life that I had dreamt of and imagined just fell apart. I'd lost my life, I'd lost my partner, I'd lost the father of my children and all the things that we were gonna do together. So I was just afraid that anything that I tried would turn to ash, and so I was terrified to lose more of myself or what I already had. Come on, let's go. My friend Jer, he's now the manager of AIDS Vancouver Island, and he was getting food bags for his clients there, and so he got me on this vegetable train because food's expensive. I'm now a single mom, I don't have a lot of anything. And so he was bringing me a bag of vegetables once a week that we could, eat. And then he had a class he needed to take that just happened to overlap with the exact same time that we were picking up food bags. So he voluntold me basically that he needed my help. Okay, 1, 2. He's really good at giving you the courage to make that next step. And so he kind of pushed me out the door. Hello. There you go, my dear.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you so much. We'll see you next week, okay? Bye. And then when I got there, these beautiful, friendly, welcoming, hey, how's it going? And they knew that I was coming for Jer, and they'd seen my name on the list before, right? So for them to be able to put a face name, they were just so welcoming, and it was like a breath of fresh air, oh, okay, it isn't that scary,
Watching something as fundamental and simple as a bag of vegetables help someone like Sarah re-engage community and the supports that are available, and to remind her that there's people out there that care.
Bananas.
But to also remind her that she has something to offer to the community as well, has been one of the most inspiring things that I've been able to see happen to my friend and to a community member.
You just really like peeling your onion? Okay.
And Woodward, 1 bag. Hey. And there's extras over there, so help yourself. People love coming to get their good food box. They love the freshness of the food. They're getting a good quality product. They love just showing up and talking. Definitely like to get people to try different foods too. A lot of people aren't used to cooking beets, but they're a locally available product in the winter, so we like to put them in the bag in the winter.
Thank you.
It's a little bit like a tiny little Christmas. You dive into this bag, and sometimes there's stuff you don't expect. You're pulling out, carrots and bananas and things that I immediately recognize and know what to do with. And then I got this very large, weird-looking vegetable. And I found out it was something called a rutabaga, and they've become one of my favorite vegetables. A really good friend shared her recipe. It's a carrot rutabaga soup, and I love it. It's one of my favorite soups, and I make it a lot. One thing I really appreciate about the Good Food Box program is I pay for this food. It isn't a handout. I'm not taking it from anyone. I have a basic pension. It's a tiny pension, but it's a basic pension. I can get my own food. But the Good Food Box makes sure that I can get better food than I can manage on my own.
Yeah, I can carry that out if you want to carry your little guy. There's different ways to quantify how many benefits a box or bag of food can have on an individual or on a community, but I think the community coming together, working together, and then also, the nutrition that goes into the bags. Just people who can access food, that's a basic need, and I don't know if you can really, quantify that.
Essentially what we're trying to do with this research is assess what are the impacts of a good food box. What we're trying to do is enroll people, especially people over the age of 55, who are food insecure, otherwise having challenges accessing the nutritional, healthy food that they need. Admit them into a program that provides them with a good food box, and then evaluate what the impacts of that food box are on their health and well-being, as well as their food security status and their nutritional health outcomes. What we're seeing is that it has impacts on food security status and self-reported health outcomes, as well as kind of social connectivity within the community. So 1 in 4 people after 4 weeks becomes food secure as a result of this program. So that's pretty stark. It's a pretty beneficial program, that's what that tells me. But where we're probably seeing even a more stark difference is when we just talk to people, when we have conversations with people and we can collect what's called qualitative information from them. And this qualitative information through interviews really tells us that participants really enjoy participating in this program. The clients, receive lots of different benefits, from improved social connectivity through to improved food literacy. So for example, they're cooking with fruits or vegetables that they didn't know existed beforehand, but they got it in the Good Food Box and they learned how to cook with it. These Good Food Box programs can kind of fill a gap that exists in our community food systems in Canada.
Hey, take care.
Apple. Apple. It was a long time since I started taking care of myself, but I wasn't cooking at the time because cooking involves making a meal for someone and sitting down, and well, now there's an empty chair at my table, and so I just wasn't, because I would cry. I would often try and make a meal and I would just burst into tears, so we'd have hot dogs again. But now I had all these vegetables, so I had to start cooking them. So we started slowly. It was cut up vegetables and cucumbers, salads, a lot of that. And then we started making mashed potatoes. And then I was like, okay, well, we've got hot dogs, but we also have mashed potatoes. And now we've got mashed potatoes and carrots and hot dogs. And so, yeah, it really forced me to overcome some of the hardships that I wasn't able to break in my own head. And now I cook.
I think in a perfect world, there would be more Good Food Box programs, actually. I mean, the need to have food going out to the community is always going to be there. People are always going to need to eat, and I think we always are going to need community coming together to help one another. So I think whether or not it's a Good Food Box program or just community coming together to help feed one another, I think that's always going to be an important part of our life.
Right now, food is so expensive that, again, what you saw in our food bag today, that's $20 or $30 worth of vegetables, easily. You wouldn't be able to buy that at the grocery store for what the Good Food Bag is providing. But what you could buy for $5 is a cheeseburger. I could feed my kids cheeseburgers and Happy Meals all day long because I could afford that. But it would also give them really bad food habits. It would fill them with salts and preservatives. And it really isn't what I want to do, and it's not healthy for us as a society. For the longest time, when we lost Jeff, I thought that was it. That was my family. It was gone. I'm on my own now. And some days I still feel like I'm on my own. But you know what? I'm not. I've got a community in this neighborhood. I've got a community in the city. And there's a million people I can reach out to if I'm just open to it. And all of that started with a bag of vegetables, right? So then here we are, eating apples and cooking pink soup. Right, bud? You gonna have some pink soup? No? Okay, how about an apple?
Pink soup.
Pink soup.